the Dean of Computer Science faculty, and then the Vice Dean of Computer Science faculty, head of departments from Faculty of Engineering and also from Computer Science. Of course, especially to all lecturers and also all our students from Faculty of Engineering and also from Faculty of Computer Science. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. First of all, I'd like to welcome Dr. Patrick Pheian for his visit to our university, Universitas Esa Unggul. Of course, it is an important session for us to hear sharing from him about the future of AI and engineering. Yeah, this event held by continuing our partnership with Arizona State University, which is a strategic partnership, yeah, with many activities to give benefits to all our students here from SI Unggul University and also to our faculty members or our lecturers in Universitas Esa Unggul, whether it is in teaching, research, and maybe for community services. Yeah, I think we are really fortunate today to have Dr. Patrick Pheian to share his knowledge about the future of AI and engineering, because it is an important issue for us to know, so we can be better in the future to do our activities, whether it is a student or a lecturer or faculty members in our faculty. Yeah, I think that's all. My speech represent Pak Jerry from Faculty of Computer Science and also Faculty of Engineering. I speak here. I think that's all. Thank you very much. Enjoy this international lecture. Please give your attention so you can accept all information from Dr. Patrick Pheian. I think that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruspiansa, for your warm greetings. Let's jump up to the main agenda. It's a great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Patrick Pheian. Here is to share his insight and knowledge with the topic, the future of AI and engineering. And I leave it to the moderator, Mr. Habibullah Akbar, SSEMS, Master of Science, PhD, as the head of Computer Science Master Program. Time is yours, sir.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang teman-teman semua. Udah pada makan belum? Kok mukanya kayak lemes semua ini? Udah belum ya? Panitia. Oke, udah pakai ChatGPT belum hari ini? Udah ya? Pak Geri udah. Oke, first of all, we would like to welcome to Professor Patrick. Welcome to our university. Actually, kecerdasan buatan ya. Kecerdasan buatan ini pasti teman-teman udah pada sering pakai ya. Mungkin juga kalau dosen di di pengamatan saya kan AI untuk bikin soal gitu ya. Mahasiswanya nggak mau kalah. Mahasiswanya ngerjain soal dengan AI juga ya. Lama-lama kita jadi cyborg semua gitu ya. Actually, some of the expert, Jeffrey Hinton, I think, he thought that AI will surpass human intelligence for within next 100 years, but he changed his mind. Maybe less than 20 years, AI will become a threat. So we would like to hear any opinion, anything about the how AI will disrupt modern engineering. Most of the students here, Dr. Patrick is actually from engineering, right? I think some from computer science faculty. So let me read the curriculum vitae first. Give me one second. Plus plus. So Professor Patrick actually assistant dean from Fulton Schools of Engineering. Uh, in the domain of matter transport and energy, and he has been supervised almost 100 graduate students, PhD and master students. And even the undergraduate is lower than that, the number. So I think he's one of the expert in artificial intelligence, especially for how AI will be can be implemented in engineering sites. So, Professor Patrick, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for the very kind introduction. So let's talk about this. First of all, I want to say I'm not really an expert in this. I'm from mechanical engineering. All right, I'm a professor of mechanical and aerospace engineering. The reason why I want to talk about this today is because I think it's so important for everybody in this room. So all of you, as I understand, are either engineering students or computer science students. Is that right? All right, good, 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 good. All right, so let's see. We'll try to make this work. All right, we'll try to make this work. Ah, there we go. Next slide. All right. So first question: who has a Chat GPT account? Raise your hand. All right. How about DeepSeek? All right. How about any other LLM? What else? Cloud, Gemini, Gemini. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. All right. All right. That's good. All right. I didn't see all the hands go up. All right. But I think it's important that everybody have an account on ChatGPT or on something else. And the reason why is because of this graph. So ChatGPT was launched in November of 2022. And what this graph is showing is that the percentage of jobs in tech, meaning the engineering jobs, computer science jobs, the percentage of tech jobs that involve AI. Right? So before ChatGPT, that is about 10%. And it's constant. Once ChatGPT gets launched, see how that number is going up, right? So it's now at 20% and more, right? Even today, it's probably higher than that. So that means when you graduate, and probably you will graduate, you'll want to get a job, all right? Your job is probably going to involve AI. So you've got to learn how to use it. You've got to learn how to use it to your advantage. And so that means, are you learning what you need to learn in order to use AI in the best way possible? All right, now this is just emphasizing the point. So whatever kind of tech job you go into, maybe you go into manufacturing, maybe finance, all right, maybe some other kind of tech job. It's important in every one of those disciplines. So no matter what kind of job you're going to get, it's going to be important. So you got to make sure you know what to do. All right, now we see evidence of AI all around us. How many people here have heard of Waymo? Not so many, I guess. Waymo. Nobody. Interesting. All right. Waymo is a branch of Google. All right. They're creating this autonomous vehicle. And you can see this autonomous vehicle every day in Phoenix. So every day you can call them up on an app just like Grab, and they'll take you where you want to go with no driver. So this is an example of AI at work. And so maybe it's a little harder here in Jakarta for autonomous vehicles, but it's going to come. All right, so we are going to see that. And so we see it already in Arizona, where I'm from. Now, how many people have heard of this guy? We got a few. All right. So this is the CEO of NVIDIA. So he made this kind of famous statement about a year ago in that everybody in the world is now a programmer. So we have all of you computer science majors out there. You're studying programming. Maybe that's not a good idea. All right, according to him. I still think it's a good idea. All right, but maybe some people would disagree with that. All right, how many people have seen Dune, the movie? Not so many. Not so many. A few. So, if you haven't seen it, you probably don't know the story, but it turns out there's no AI in Dune. Okay? And you know the reason why? It's actually just what the professor was saying earlier. They felt AI was a threat. And so in the story, this is of course a story, they waged a war against AI. They called AI thinking machines. And they eliminated them. All right? Maybe we have to do that too. Hopefully not. All right? Hopefully not, but maybe. Who knows? Now, another point. And you can see I like using the Wall Street Journal. Can you use AI too much? Yes. Will using AI too much make you stupid? Yes, it will. So we don't want to be in this situation where we rely on it too much. If we ask it to do all of our thinking for us, we're in trouble. Right? So the trick is, how do we use it in the right way? Okay, now, this is also important. You want to get a job. All right? Is AI going to take your job? Maybe. All right, I don't know, but maybe. Okay, but if we look at history, history tells us otherwise. So this is a study that looked like the type of jobs that were around in 1940, before World War II, and the type of jobs that are around in 2018. And it turns out 60% of the jobs in 2018 were not even available in 1940. So in other words, when there's new technology, it creates new kinds of jobs, right? Different jobs. Yeah, it's going to take away some jobs. Maybe the low-level programming jobs are going to go away because ChatGPT can generate code very well. All right? But it's going to create new jobs. So I think there's going to be more jobs out there, but it's going to need people like you, all right, with your engineering degrees or computer science degrees, are going to need to take advantage of that. Okay, a little quiz. So, what is the future? So how many people here say A? It's only important for computer scientists. All right? All right. How about B? Nope. All right. How about C? All right. How about D? All right. That's the answer I was looking for. I don't know if this is right. All right? But it's what I think too. All right? I think it's going to be important for all of us. So, one way to look at this is to say, well, maybe we're in a new era. All right? If you think about it historically, now let's say you wanted something like this podium. 200 years ago, you would have hired a craftsman to make this for you. It would be one person working in his shop. They would make this podium. All right? Now that became, over time, we had the Industrial Revolution. So instead of having one person in his shop making this, now this would come from a factory. So we have many people working together to make this podium. Then along came computers, around 1940s, 50s, something like that, right? Then we entered the computer era, or some people call it the information era. Now, it appears we're entering another era, which we might call the AI era. So you're at the front of this new era. Another question, how did I draw this? Chat GPT, of course. Yeah. So why spend time drawing if I can just ask ChatGPT to do it for me? So to me, this is a good example of how to use ChatGPT. All right? I don't need to spend time drawing. Okay? I can tell ChatGPT to do that for me. All right, now this is lots of detail. But the point here, and by the way, this came from a recent study from what's called the National Academies of Engineering and Science in the United States. So it's a very esteemed body, right? And they're looking at exactly this issue. What is the future of AI and work? So are you going to be able to get a job after you graduate? Are the students in the United States, just like you, are they going to get a job after they graduate? Or is AI going to take all the jobs? All right? That's the question they're also looking at too. So they look at different scenarios. They don't say they know the answer. Nobody does. Right? So if you look at three different scenarios that they considered, they're basically saying one scenario is, well, ChatGPT, yeah, it's good for making drawings. All right? It can write your report for you, maybe. Okay? It can do relatively easy things, but it's not going to get much more powerful than that. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is the opposite. It's basically saying that it becomes all powerful. There's no need for any of us in this room anymore, all right, to do any thinking whatsoever, because it's just going to take over all of our jobs. That's scenario number two. Kind of scary, but scenario number two. And scenario number three is kind of in between. And this is the one that we think is most likely. At least I think is most likely. All right, yeah, ChatGPT, it does get more powerful. All right, maybe it reaches human intelligence in 20 years, as you heard. All right, but you still can take advantage of it. You can still use it, all right, to do your jobs better. And that's what this graph is kind of showing too. If you have, let's say, very low level of education or expertise, let's say you're a woodworker who's making this. Maybe AI is not going to help very much. It's not going to improve how you make this. Okay? Now at the other end, let's say you're one of your professors here. They're super smart. All right? Maybe they don't really need AI to help them do their job any better. All right? But then there's everybody else in the middle expertise, where maybe there's a great opportunity to use AI to improve your job. All right, to improve what you're doing. And I think that's where most of us are going to be. So it's people like you. You're college educated, you have an engineering degree, you've got a computer science degree. All right, you're going to be able to utilize ChatGPT and all the other kinds of AI to really do your jobs much better. All right, a little bit of history. All right, you might recognize this gentleman here on the left-hand side, Alan Turing. He's kind of the father of computing in some ways, a British mathematician. So he started out, around the 1940s, 1930s, something like that. And so there was a lot of work on AI algorithms starting around that time. But what we didn't have around that time, though, were powerful computers that could implement these algorithms, like machine learning, for example, like artificial neural networks. Those only came on much later, in fact, in about the last 10 or 15 years. And so it's only now that you can see this emergence, this explosion of AI, because we've got both the algorithms in hand, and we've got the computing power to utilize those algorithms. So I want to cover briefly here 3 examples of how I see AI being used in engineering. So 3 brief examples. The first is in engineering design. This is actually from a colleague of mine at Arizona State, and he does the kind of things that I do which is heat transfer. Like I said, I'm in mechanical engineering, right? So those of you who might have taken thermodynamics, you would have taken it from someone like me, probably. Okay? Now, he's looking at this heat transfer problem. This is a very classic problem. Let's say you're cooling off a chip, an IC chip, inside of your laptop. How do you do that? You put these pin fins on top of it so it extends the surface area to make it easier to transfer the heat out. So you blow air across the top of that with a fan, and that's how you maintain the chip temperature. So people have been using these pin fins forever, decades and decades, and they've always been these kind of cylinders that stick up. But what he found out was that by a combination of a genetic optimization approach and a machine learning code, all right, he was able to figure out that, yeah, there's actually an optimal shape that looks kind of like a bowling pin. That's that one on the right-hand side. And this just kind of emphasizes the point that this kind of a heat transfer shape is actually way better than what other people have come up with before. So that's one application in terms of AI and engineering design. Now, how about modeling? So a big part of what engineers do is try to predict how a system is going to perform in the future. And so the classical approach is what I would call the physics approach. You apply physics equations to model a system. And so in this case, let's say if you're interested in that car and how it goes down the road, well, you could apply these what are called Navier-Stokes equations for airflow. All right? Sure, you know, people have done that a long time. They more or less work. Great. But at the other hand, you could also say, well, I could do some experiments and generate data, like in that wind tunnel shown below, and then I could develop a machine learning model based upon that data. So I could train that machine learning model with those data, and I could use that then to predict how that car is going to perform. But better yet is to combine both of these. And so to me, this is one of the frontiers, I would say, in AI or machine learning, so-called physics-informed machine learning. And so as an example, this is a complicated example, but that's exactly the kind of situation this is good for. You have a drying process, which you can model with these physics equations. Yeah, that's fine. But it's really complicated, and it's probably not going to be very accurate. So what these guys did was they combined an artificial neural network, or what's called a deep neural network, with the same kinds of physics equations. So in other words, it makes sure that that machine model, in this case the neural network, it satisfies the basic physics equations at the same time. It doesn't hallucinate. It doesn't give you an answer that's wrong. Because that's something that you can't control so well if it's a purely data-driven model. So this combines the best of both worlds. And some more details about how it does that. It looks at essentially the error that this combined model generates, and it tries to minimize that combined error, what they call minimizing the loss. Okay, last example is in controls. So AI is actually good, quite good, at controlling things. So a building, for example, like this one, is really complicated in terms of trying to control it very well. Let's say from an energy efficiency or a comfort point of view. But AI can do that very well. But the problems with that are that you get this model that's a black box, right? You have this complicated, let's say, artificial neural network. You have no idea what's going on inside there. So there's no way to interpret the results. You have to just take it on faith. That's not very satisfying. And also, you don't know if it's telling you a wrong answer either. So another frontier, as I see it, in AI is, how can we make these models more interpretable? That's the term they tend to use. How can we make them trustworthy so that we can believe what these models are telling us? So, this is a problem from the class I teach. All right, I teach this every spring. It's a graduate course in mechanical engineering on heat transfer. So this is a problem from one of my midterm exams. So, do you think Chat, I realize this isn't going to show up very well here. My question is, can ChatGPT solve this kind of a master's level problem? And the answer, it turns out, is yes, it can. All right? So I think in terms of your education, this is pretty important too, because if you can use ChatGPT on your exams, you can just solve every problem I give you. But would you learn anything by doing that? And the answer is no, right? So this is the part where using it too much makes you stupid. Okay, so you want to avoid that. But this is actually a real challenge for us in education, is how do we make best use of ChatGPT and these kinds of tools? Because they're great. They can explain stuff to you that I can't in exactly the words you want to hear. For instance, not in English. Okay. So we've got to make better use of this in our education. And I think we're still trying to figure out how best to do that. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about at my own university. All right, you know, AI there. And we actually have an agreement with OpenAI. That's the company that produces ChatGPT. Okay, we were actually the first university to have that kind of an agreement, as it turns out. Now, what do we do with it? All right, it's actually kind of percolating through our entire system in some ways, both in education and in research, very importantly in research, even in administration as well. All right, so we're trying to make use of more sophisticated versions of ChatGPT, especially private ones, all right, so that we can use them not only in the classroom, but also in the research that we're doing. How do you prepare for this? So if I were in your shoes, okay, one thing I would do is take statistics, because most of this is based upon statistics. All right, most of the, say, machine learning or data-driven models are based upon statistics. I think you still need to learn some kind of coding. So whether or not you're a computer scientist or some other kind of engineer, I think you need to still be able to do some basic coding. That way ChatGPT can help you get it better, sure. All right, but I think you still need some basic coding. You do need to master whatever your core discipline is, because let's say if you're in industrial engineering, how do you apply AI to industrial engineering? You have to know something about industrial engineering in order to figure out, oh, is ChatGPT right or not? All right, because at the end of the day, you can't just accept what the answer it gives you. You're the one who's going to have to figure out, is this answer correct or not? Finally, these other things are all very important as well. You can get ChatGPT to write your report for you, sure, all right? But so far, anyway, it can't give a presentation like this, okay? So you're still going to have to communicate. So that's the part you need to practice as well. All right, a few other things about education in my university. You know, we want to combine this advanced knowledge, whether it's in robotics, like shown here, all right, or in AI, or in data science. We want to combine that with advanced learning in your engineering discipline, because we see that's where you can be most effective. You still have to know your discipline, but we think you have to know increasingly something else as well, whether it be robotics, all right, whether it be data science, which is another one of our degree programs, or a new one, whether it be in AI itself. Okay, so regardless of what you do, you still need to know that core discipline, whether it's computer science or some branch of engineering. But we think increasingly you got to know something else as well in order to succeed. Now, skip through that. Skip. I do want to show a video. Let's see if this works. This is specific to international students, by the way, at ASU.
I'm Srish and I'm from India.
Hi, I'm Juliet. I'm from Brazil.
My name is Zian Li. I'm from China.
My name is Moe Honda. I'm from Japan.
My name is Khaled Al-Dali. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
I think it's very diverse. I see so many different people from so many different countries, and like I get to study with them and get to know more about where they come from and their culture, and it's really awesome.
The social life here is amazing.
It's a great place to get to know a lot of people, and also it's a great place to learn.
What I like most here at ASU, it's all the support that we as international students have, like the staff that can help us with everything we need, and also all the facilities we have for us.
I would recommend ASU for every student who is looking for different kind of culture and different kind of education, and amazing environment to interact with every student here in general.
ASU! ASU!
my propaganda film for ASU. You might have noticed there are no obviously Indonesian students in that video, so we're hoping to change that. All right, so hopefully we'll see some of you there. We got every kind of degree you can imagine. Let me skip through this one. I'll skip through that too. And this is actually my last slide. And I don't know if do you recognize that quotation? Probably not, because it's actually one of my PhD students. And he used to work at Amazon for a while, but now he's back studying for his PhD in data science. But I think his quote is exactly right. I think once you graduate, that's just the beginning, actually, of your learning. You're going to have to keep on learning, and you're going to have to keep learning faster and faster and faster in order to keep up, right? That's where AI comes in, is helping you learn. All right. What I'd like to point out is that I have all sorts of stuff up here to give away. And if you're interested, by all means, please come down and pick it up. So there's some things that go in the back of your phone, lots of brochures, some stickers. If you're interested, please come over and pick it up. I don't want to bring anything back. All right, with that, thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate it.
Wow, actually that was a very interesting presentation. Now we have the session. I would like to give two questions first. Raise your hand. Okay, this guy. Ya, yang nanya nanti dapat souvenir. Jadi nggak usah rebutan.
Greetings, my name is Galhari Kusuma. Maybe you can call me Adi for simpler way. So I'm from software engineering or computer science, and I would like to know, as someone from software engineering, where AI tools are now deeply integrated into daily work, such as CI/CD optimization and something else, how do you personally integrate AI into your engineering workflow? That's the first one. And the second one is, what challenge do you face in doing so? And by the way, I made this question from asking ChatGPT. So yeah,
I already guessed that. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Very good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So, for instance, in my own case, I've used, for instance, some machine learning modeling in my own research. So, for example, I showed the example of a building. All right, we're interested in how a building consumes energy. So how can we predict the future energy consumption of a building? That's something that we've applied machine learning. In our case, an artificial neural network. We're also using now in a different application, also for buildings, but a gray box type of model to predict building performance. And so your second question was what again?
The challenge that you face.
The challenge that I face. So I think is, what do you do if the answer is not right? Okay, so let's say you've got a set of data, and now you put together some kind of model or another. Let's say it's an artificial neural network or something else, all right? Maybe a support vector type thing. And then it just doesn't give you the correct answer. What's next? All right? And so in our case, we're actually moving towards that physics-informed machine learning approach with the hope that it's going to give us a more accurate result. All right? But otherwise, I'm a little bit stuck there. You know?
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Another question? If you don't have any question, you can ask ChatGPT actually. Jangan malu. Ya. Silakan. Ayo. Yes. Pak Gary, silakan.
Saya tidak menggunakan ChatGPT, jadi Bapak translate.
Oke.
I will ask with Indonesia. So, beliau menginformasikan bahwa programming mungkin suatu saat jadi berkurang. Saat ini banyak sekali teman-teman saya di hackers mencoba memasukkan pengetahuan hacking tadi di dalam GitHub, sehingga pengetahuan pembuatan program itu menjadi terdistorsi dengan pengetahuan hacking tadi. Artinya, program-program source code yang dibuat oleh AI itu kadang disisipi oleh kode-kode rahasia dari hackers tadi. Kalau kita tidak memahami programming, kita akan menerima code begitu saja sehingga sistem kita mudah hancur. Nah, barangkali minta tanggapan beliau mengenai etik dan segala macam seperti itu, Pak.
Bentar Pak, jadi kode-kode program software itu sudah disisipi virus semacam itu atau kode-kode. Okay, Doctor, actually the question is recently in some communities, GitHub for example, people when they distribute source code, the source code actually has been infiltrated with some hacking, something like this, some hacking code. So when people use the code carelessly, so when they develop software, maybe it will become a harmful software. So the question is how we handle the situation, the ethical problem, or the those kind of that can will make the social problem. Yeah. Yes.
All right, thanks for the question. So this is not my expertise, first of all, but I got to think that there are other tools out there that also help you to identify these kinds of hacking type codes or insertions, right? So I got to think there, on the one hand, that if one is concerned about a particular code, there's some other kind of algorithm you could put it through that could check for that, right, and eliminate those pieces of code, the malicious pieces. So I'm not personally aware of that, but I got to think it's out there, all right? Now secondly, it gives rise, the larger question is from the ethics point of view, right? And there's no clear answer in ethics, but I think the important thing is making sure that at least the students are aware of the ethical choices, all right? And so, for instance, in our new AI engineering degree, we are going to require an ethics course, an ethics class as part of it. Everybody's got to take, right? So, just to make sure that they're at least thinking about it, they're aware of it, right? And I think that's what we can do for now. Yeah, good question.
Okay, thank you. One last question, maybe? Okay, what about the Okay, so hopefully from this session we has listened some innovation, some inspirations, story, and also many informations. So help you guys to see the world that everything is going to change, and we cannot predict what's going to happen, whether AI is going to be a threat or hopefully it will become incorporated in our business process. So it helps us in many ways. So guys, I think I'm afraid that's the end of these sessions. So for the last, give applause to Professor Pheian.
Don't forget the giveaways. All right.
Iya, jangan rebutan ya. Panitia tolong di ini koordinasi ya. Giveaways.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick, for that enlightenment presentation, and Mr. Habibullah Akbar for assisting us to this international guest lecture. Now, let's jump up to the next agenda is token handovering. I'd like to invite Mr. Dr. Gary Firmansyah, STMCom, as the Dean of Computer Science Faculty, to hand over the token to Mr. Patrick. Thank you very much. Now let's take